The aim is to help government take advantage of opportunities presented by this digital revolution. Now, ENCA's Govan Whittles joins us now live. He's tracking this story for us. Govan, it's something that we see generally in the movies, not quite something that is normal, shall we say, in a South African context when it comes to presidents and government officials delivering their keynote addresses. The president set to deliver his via hologram.
Yes, that's just one of the highlights here, and it's because the president has really taken on a leading role in trying to speed up the implementation of new digital strategies in different sectors of society. But here at the Digital Economy Summit, some of the key focus areas would include how to train young South Africans to take part in the opportunities in the digital space, but also how to reform the corporate and government environment and digitize much of the processes that currently involve a lot of pen and paper. This summit is essentially looking forward to how South Africa will be conducting its business, but also how it will be developing its products and innovating its services through using concepts such as artificial intelligence and a greater connection to the rest of the world through improved frequencies on 5G, 4G, and even today, as we will see, how to deliver some of those speeches through hologram. We know that this is not new in India. The Prime Minister Narendra Modi famously conducted much of his election campaign through holograms, reaching some of the most remote areas in India, and it's a leaf that President Cyril Ramaphosa has taken out of his book, and today we'll see exactly how far along we've progressed and whether we're on par with countries such as India. But let's talk a little bit about whether South African companies are ready for the fourth industrial revolution. We'll try to simplify what that term means, and we're joined now by a leader at Deloitte Digital, Cyril Ramaphosa. Thank you so much for your time. Let's begin with the Deloitte report saying on whether South African companies are ready for the fourth industrial revolution and what they're doing. So from your perspective, do you think that we are ready to embrace this new digital skill set?
Absolutely. I think South Africans are entrepreneurial by nature and have been experimenting with the technology for a while now. I think the key to unlocking the entrepreneurship of our nation is about creating a regulatory framework that's predictable, that allows those startups within our nation to take this opportunity and to expand and scale out their investments so that all citizens can benefit from it.
But what are we talking about practically, and what kind of skill sets or what kind of technology are companies supposed to be using to get on par with their counterparts in other countries?
I think there's a range of technologies that other nations have been using, from artificial intelligence to IoT to blockchain technology, and those same opportunities exist for us in South Africa and broadly in Africa. And creating a regulatory framework that it makes it predictable for things, for aspects like cybersecurity and privacy, make it important for us to openly debate and have an inclusive discussion around what it means for us as South Africans to adopt and embrace such technology.
So how does Deloitte foresee things such as blockchain and artificial intelligence, data privacy, data security changing the way that work and business is conducted in South Africa?
I think as businesses evolve and more businesses start to adopt the technology, the insights they get from the data that they have access to make it important to offer personalized service to their customers. And that's true for other nations as it is for South Africa.
Thank you so much. That's Cyril Ramaphosa from Deloitte Digital. And of course, we're already seeing an explosion in industries such as the food delivery sector, where we're seeing that a lot more people are having access to that service through mass data. And of course, Google's advertising, targeted advertising, has taken off in South Africa, where there's been a big uptake from companies that are now subscribing to that service to make sure their products reach their repeat repeat customers. So these are just some of the things that will be discussed here at the Digital Economy Summit. We're about to get underway. The Premier of Gauteng, David Makura, is expected to open the event, and then we'll also hear from a representative of Huawei. That's, of course, after President Cyril Ramaphosa endorsed Huawei, or gave the company South Africa's backing while he was at the G20 summit, and that move seemed to have strengthened relations between South Africa and China, particularly after the trade war between the United States and China. But these are just some of the issues which are bound to come up here. I spoke to some of the businesses. They say that what they're looking for is a commitment from the state to enforce a regulatory framework and set the rules of engagement, so to speak, as to how companies would be working with these technologies and what they're allowed to do with people's information.
Governor, I don't want to keep you. I know that event is meant to begin in a few minutes or so, but it's not just a talk shop today, is it? The hope surely must be that all of these important discussions between the public and private sector, academia, that it translates into what happens in the classroom.
Indeed, and that will also take place through the panel discussions which involve different universities as well as TVET colleges. I see that it looks like the delegation from the presidency might just be arriving now. But in terms of the developing of that curriculum, the TVET colleges, private colleges and universities will be looking at how to get as many South African students as possible to take part in this program. Of course, right now a big barrier to entry is the fact that universities can only start teaching these skills to people who have passed with a bachelor distinction at high school. But of course, private colleges are offering an entry into learning some of these digital skills through a standardized test. So one of the ways that they're discussing opening it up to the rest of South Africa is how to roll out that standardized test and hopefully get more participation. But it looks like the event is underway now, and we should be getting inside to see that hologram address by the President.
Yeah, you go ahead and do that, and you'll keep us up to date throughout the day on how that summit continues to unfold. That's my colleague, Govan Whittles. He's tracking the story around the SA Digital Economy Summit, which, as he says, is just about to kick off. Now, still ahead.